So my dad gave me a Rolex Explorer on Christmas, and I cried. Hello, and welcome back to the Doshin Time channel. Today is Christmas, and it's Christmas morning, afternoon, whatever, and it has been very special for me because of a wristwatch that's currently on my wrist. So last night was Christmas Eve, and we had some family around. It was just a small party, just dinner really, and yeah, things were going chill. Things were going cool. Before the party started, me being a wristwatch guy, I gave my parents and myself a little NATO strap. Just a bunch of different red colored, one moment, NATO straps that you see over here. Nothing special. Well, this one's just a red colored leather NATO, and then I had a few other. One was a Perlon, just this red Perlon. It's really sexy. This was the watch I was wearing, and then I gave my mom a NATO which says ho 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 with some Christmas decorations on it. It was pretty cool. And yeah, so anyway, I was wearing a Saab 033, this watch right here, as I just shown you. My mom was wearing a Saab 035. So yeah, I put the strap on for me and my mom, and then I asked my dad, do you want a strap as well? Because sometimes, he's a bit on and off. He could be into Christmassy stuff, or he could not. He's just a pretty chill guy. He doesn't really do extravagant or extra unnecessary things usually, but I mean, that's just what I think, but that's what I've seen. So I asked him, do you want me to put this leather NATO on one of his Submariners? And he was like, nah, the Submariner's too heavy. So I was like, yeah, that's chill. How about your Explorer? Because he has an Explorer. And I was like, yeah. And sorry, he was like, yeah, go on then. So I went into his room and I put it on this little leather NATO, and that was it really. I gave it to him, he put it on, and the night went on. So anyway, there's a story behind the Explorer that he wore, and I'll tell it to you. So this was in August, maybe September, October, and I was just in town. I was looking for, what was I looking for? Oh, I went to meet this watchmaker of mine. He's just really good in doing services and stuff. So I was in town, and he wasn't in that day. So there were a few other watch shops there, and I did a little window shopping. I was just browsing here and there. Obviously I wasn't planning to buy any. I didn't go out that day intending to buy anything, and I was just browsing, and I saw this little Explorer 1 by the window of a shop, and it's one of these reputable high-end luxury watch dealers, the kind that the people in the know don't really buy from. Like, I wouldn't typically buy from there, because they're basically just selling these watches at ridiculous premiums, and usually you're more likely to lose money on those watches than you are. I mean, you usually look like, for a private seller, or to buy at retail if you want to get your bang for buck, or for lack of another term. Anyway, so I saw this Explorer 1, and I was like, this guy's not in. So I'm at the shop right now. I see a nice Explorer 1. Let's try it on. I've never tried till that point in my life. I never held an Explorer. I'd never seen an Explorer in real life. But there I was. So I went into the shop, and they were nice. The lady, and there's just a lady. I think two ladies, but one of them was serving me, and so I sat down. And I said, I like the Explorer at the window. Can I try it on? And I think it was going for something like compared to like a few months later. It was really cheap. It was like 7,000, yes, somewhere around the 7.5k mark, just under, and Sing dollars, that is. So do your conversions. So I went in, I took a seat, and I was like, yeah, can I try the Explorer at the window? I like it. And she was like, yeah. So she let me try it on. I tried it on, and I really liked the size. I was like, oh, because my wrists are tiny. I think I've got like 6.25 of an inch, 6.25 inch. And I tried it on. I was like, wow, because it was a 36 millimeter Explorer, and was fascinated. I was like, damn, I I felt like I could afford it. I just had to save up a bit, maybe, or I don't know, find a loan from my parents, maybe. But I was like, damn, this is a good price for a very good watch. It wasn't really over polished. It was in good condition. No original box or papers, but it had the original Explorer bracelet, and I liked it, but I couldn't afford it at that point. So I go home. I thank the lady, of course, and I go home. When I get home, Mr. Bark and Jack, Adrian from Bark and Jack, he uploads a video on YouTube right when I sit down on my couch and turn on the TV. He uploads a video on YouTube. So I go on YouTube on my, because it's a smart TV. So I go on YouTube. I play the video. I play the video, and Mr. Adrian has this video titled, "What is going on with the Rolex Explorer 1?" So he's talking about the exact same watch which I just saw on the window storefront and tried on my wrist. So what was he talking about? Let me get into it. One moment. Hello. Oh. Someone just called asking for a loan. Anyway. Where was I? So yeah, Mr. Adrian's video was about how the Explorer 1 was going extinct in the British Chrono 24 market. And for some reason, there were only like one or two selling, and they were selling for like £5,000 to £6,000. And Mr. Adrian, Mr. Barker and Jack, I should just call him Adrian, but I know, I feel like I know, I have a lot of respect for him. He's one of my favorite watch guys, and yeah, if he sees this video, thank you, Mr. Adrian. But anyway, Mr. Adrian, that reminds me of a teacher I had in school called Mr. Adrian. Anyway, Mr. Adrian, Mr. Barker and Jack, he goes on telling us like, this Explorer 1, the 14270, is going extinct. It's so hard to find. Prices are inflated. So for those who can't really compare, £5,000 is about 9,000 Sing dollars. And I just saw this watch at the storefront for $7,200. And usually with these high-end dealer guys, you can, there's a bit of wiggle room, so you can negotiate. So I'm thinking like, how has this just happened? How has this been so big of a coincidence that like by chance, the watchmaker wasn't in. By chance, I walked past the window. By chance, I saw the Explorer. By chance, I tried it on. By chance, it was a great price. By chance, I came home, and Mr. Adrian uploads a video on the same watch by chance, and about how, if you can, pick one up. That's what the I don't think that was the message of his video, but that was, I think, a fair gauge of what he was subliminally trying to message. Do I use those words correctly? I'm not too confident, but anyway. So I was like, mate, this is scary. This is like the universe is trying to tell me something. I'm not a very superstitious person, but I was like, I mean, I know a signal when I see one. So I tell my mom and my sister, because my dad was asleep, I think. I was like, Mom, Krishna, my sister, I just saw this watch. It is so cheap, it like compared to the market of Rolexes, and I love it, and I really want to pick it up. And my mom, of course, being my mom, she's like, don't say that. That is nonsense. Blah, blah, blah. Bee, boo, boo, boo. That is such a waste. I'm like, oh my God, please. She's like, oh no, it's such a bad idea. Why are you going to spend so much money into a watch? Blah. This might sound a little bit sexist, but I think that's the typical response of a partner or a motherly figure in a typical household. I see a lot of memes of it and stuff, but I I don't want to be sexist or anything, but that's that's so far based on my experience, based on the women like I interact with on a daily basis. That's how they react. They're like, how could you spend so much on a watch? And I think that's a fair reaction. Perhaps men in the who are not in the watch game as well might react the same way. So anyway, I was like, oh my god, these guys aren't listening to me. And I was like, I was telling them story. I was like, yo, I just went to the shop and I came home and look at the video and I played it for them. I'm like, look, he's telling us, look at the prices over there and look at the prices over here. Like, we have to pick this up. We're like, even if we pick it up at the price they're selling for, you make money theoretically. You don't even have to sell it, but the money is there, the value is there. And I was telling them this, and they were like, blah blah. We'll see what happens when your dad wakes up. So my dad wakes up, and I'm like, and by that point, I managed to convince my mom and my sister already. And either way, they were going to invest in my ideas. So my mom was going to give me a bit of money, and obviously I was going to pay half of it or something. So then my dad wakes up and he was like, oh, what are you guys doing? Blah blah blah. And I explained it to him. I'm like, yo, we're gonna go get this watch right now. And my dad's like, all right, I'll come with. So on the way in the car, we were discussing the payment and what we're gonna do, the negotiation tactics and stuff like that. It just makes the watch collecting hobby fun, when you do all these little it's the hunt, it's the chase more than it is the acquisition. At times, there are obviously times where the acquisition is when you're like, wow. But anyway, on the way there, my dad and mom were like, yeah, no, they were gonna pay for the entire thing because my dad liked it. And yeah, I think my dad was gonna pay for the whole thing because he wanted to watch, and he was like, you can't afford it, so don't even try paying half of it. If you can't pay for the whole thing, just don't bother buying it at all. And I think that's fair. So anyway, we get to the store, and I was like, it's gonna be sold, someone else is gonna see it, someone else is gonna buy it. I was so nervous. And the store was closed. I remember, because I couldn't, at that point I was too excited, I was too nervous, I had too many like emotions in me. So me and my sister, we didn't even go to the shop. We went like walking around, because I knew if I was in the shop and my parents made an offer, or if there was a negotiation going on, I was going to overreact. I was going to lose the negotiation for my parents, essentially. Anyway, so we were walking, and my mom calls me and she's like, we bought it. And I was like, what? And she's like, nah, it's closed. And that sums up my family. Anyway, so because the shop was closed, we came home, and I was like, it's gonna be bought by someone else eventually, So because that was a Sunday, I think, yeah. So the next day I had to go to work, and I was like, yeah, I missed my chance. It's over. So the next morning, my dad's like, yeah, you know what? During your lunch, let's go pick it up. The shop should be open. And I was like, yeah, well, that's if the watch is still there. And at that point, I genuinely thought someone else saw it, someone else was gonna buy it. I know it's ridiculous saying it, but that's what I thought. So the next morning, my dad picks me up, and he's like, yeah, let's go. After like during my lunch hour, and we went. I think my mom was there as well. Yeah, my mom was there. So they were like, all right, Dilshan, because by that time I was calm a bit, so I was like, yeah, I don't mind going in for the negotiation. I could whisper a thing or two. I'll keep my emotions intact. So they were bargaining. They went in. The watch was there. The shop was open. The watch was there. Yeah, that's actually that requires some emphasis. The watch was there. So they went in and they were bargaining, and I was just stood in the corner, like looking at the other Rolexes, and they're like, my dad started with a low ball. He was like 6.5K, something like that. And I was like, my eyes were like, I was like facing the complete, like they were on that side of the room, and I was just looking at watches on this side, and I was like, okay. And yeah, they were discussing. My dad was like, oh, blah blah blah. My dad said this was gonna be a birthday present for his fat friend, so he needed extra links as well. That's my dad's way of finessing some extra links. And I was like, poo. And they did it. They managed to settle on a price that was mutually agreeable on. Um, it was somewhere in between the price offered by my dad and the price that it was selling for. So I think both parties were happy, and I was like, and yeah, they told me to pick out the Explorer box. I was like, yeah, I recognized it. So yeah, we managed to get an original box, but no papers. But we did get extra links, so it was thrilling. And my dad wore it and he loved it. And wow, oh man, I was like, wow. Um, so anyway, days go by and my dad was thinking of flipping it. Honestly, I'll be honest, my dad was thinking of flipping it. He initially bought it to flip. That's what he told me. He was like, all right, it's a nice watch, but I've got a few similar looking watches, which are the black submariners, which are similar watches. The black sub without the date, so it's the no date black sub, the 14060. He had one. He had two, but one is my mom's, one's his, I think. So he was like, yeah, I think they use the same movement as well. Correct me if I'm wrong, or yeah, don't quote me on that, but I think the Explorer 14270 and the 14060 of the Submariner use the same movement, I think, which is the 3000 or the 3130. At one point there was a crossover, something like that. Anyway, my dad bought it to sell, the Explorer, and I was proud, because I was like, yeah, I got you that money, man. I made you. I kept telling him, like, yeah, I made you that money. I got you that deal. So anyway, after a week, he was like, he wore the watch a lot, and he loved it. And and a funny thing is, while we were driving home on the day where we picked up the watch, he put it on his wrist, and I was reading the Hodinkee article. I think it was around the same time where the Hodinkee article on the Explorer came out, and I read it, and apparently Swiss only dials are, so when the dial says the word Swiss instead of T less than 25 or Swiss made, it just says Swiss. Those Explorer 14270s, the Explorer ones, are more collectible. And that's because they were run for a short period of time. And I was like, oh, Dad, while he was driving, I was like, can I take a look at your wrist? And he turned his wrist, and I glanced at it, and I was like, Pop, your watch is a Swiss only Explorer. And he was like, he was like because he was boasting. He was like, my watch is the best. And I was like, oh my god, yours is Swiss only. And he was like, haha, told you, mine's the best. And I was in shock, because also at the shop we discovered that the watch was made in my birth year. And I was like, oh my god, please don't sell this. I'll save up and I'll buy it from you. I was like, at the shop, when I found out that it was so this was a birth year watch for me, a highly collectible Explorer, because it says Swiss only. It was a Swiss only from my birth year. If you're an Explorer fan, if you're a Rolex fan, I'm sure you can kind of relate to my excitement and my shock and I was like, wow. So my dad was gonna sell this, and I was like, oh my god, he's gonna sell it. So anyway, a week goes by, and he was wearing the watch a lot, and he said, I don't think I'm gonna sell this. I like it too much. And I was like, oh my god, because I told him, Bark and Jack, TGV, these people, they bought the Explorer because they just wanted to try something, or because the opportunity presented itself, and they thought it was a boring watch initially, but for some reason, when people buy an Explorer and wear an Explorer, they fall in love with it. They love the watch for what it is and what it isn't, which is a pretentious Rolex. It is just a simple, plain Rolex. It is everything that a Rolex is, and not more. It is just what it is. It is what it is. And My dad loved it, and I was like, I've heard this story so many times now. I knew this was gonna happen, but I'm glad you're not gonna sell it because I genuinely want to buy it from you. So over the next few months, every time my salary came in, I went to my dad. I was like, "Can you do me this deal?" Blah blah blah. I offered him, $2,000 more than what he paid for it, and he was like, "No." And he didn't only say no. He said, "If you want it, you'll have to pay $11,000 for it." That was what he was charging me. He genuinely put out an offer to me. He was like, "Listen, if you want it, I'll take it off my wrist right now and give it to you for $11,000." And I was just thinking, like, I hate this guy. I mean, obviously I don't hate him, but he is a bitch when it comes to buying something off him or when it comes to money. And I'll give you an example, man. He's not the type that will buy me a present every birthday or give me something every Christmas. He's against wastage and buying unnecessary gifts and stuff like that. So I was very much not expecting anything more from him, to be honest. But I made him an offer. I said, "I'll pay you over the course of 2 years. Whenever my salary comes in, instantly I'll transfer you $300 for the next 40 months." Something ridiculous like that. And he was like, "No, $11,000. That's the best offer I can do for you. You want to give me maybe $600 a month for 20 months, something like that, some stupid amount." And I was like, "Come on, man. I found the watch. I brought you to the shop. I told you about it. I told you to spend your money on it. You made the money because of me." And he was like, not having it. He was like, "No, I don't care. I bought it. You didn't buy it." And I was like, my God. I felt so rejected, deflated. I was like, man, I love this watch and I can't get it. So what do? I buy the Seiko Sarb, which is a very good watch. Don't get me wrong. It is an extraordinary wristwatch. Yeah, there are comparison videos comparing the Seiko Sarb 033 and the Rolex Explorer 1. And yeah, go ahead and watch that and you'll understand what I'm talking about. So yeah, I bought a Seiko version, as I do with many collectible wristwatches which I'm unable to afford. So anyway, I buy a few more watches here and there. I flip them and I make more money. And this was right around my birthday. And I was like, "Dad, I'm 21. This is my offer to you." And I offered him about like $9,000-$10,000. And he was like, "I told you, 12,000. Now the price has gone up." And I was like, I went and found it for you. It's my birthday. Like, let me buy it off you. I don't want, because the reason why I kept offering him money was because he would never give me something for free. You know what I mean? Like, he would always sell it to me. And I think him doing that, although it looks like bad parenting, is very good parenting because it made me do that when it came to life. Like when someone wanted something, I was like, "You're gonna get charged for that." But no, I think I also have a lot of my mom in me, which is being a giver. So to my friends and family, I give a lot. I think I give a lot. I hope they think the same. But especially to my friends, I think I give my friends more than I give my own family. But that's because I got my mom's genes in me. But my dad's genes in me treats I charge strangers. I rarely ever give them. So for me to do that Christmas giveaway where I give away 12 wristwatch and wristwatch related items, that was huge for me. That was me taking a very bold step. And also I think, yeah, that's just my mom's genes in me. But my dad was like, he had the hustler. He gave me the hustler to hustle and make more money from wristwatches. Not necessarily from nice people, but like from just general public, just to make money. And I don't think that's anything wrong. I think, yeah, sometimes in life you gotta hustle, right? So I was like, anyway, at that point on my birthday, I was like, deep down, I think I was a little upset, but on the surface, I was chill. I was like, yeah, because I didn't get anything. yeah, I didn't get anything significant. I got a nice day out with my family and all, and I loved it. I was content. But obviously, I would have liked the opportunity to buy a watch for my dad, and he says no. So I was like, yeah, whatever. He has lowered the bar so low for me to expect anything at all that I literally had no expectations for anything. For him to say no was what I was expecting more than anything, to be honest. So my birthday goes by, and I look at this watch, and there are times, between from when he bought it to my birthday where I wore the watch. He let me wear it. He always lets me wear it. He's like, yeah, you can wear any of my watches, wear them, but it's not yours. And and that gets to you, man. It's like, and then when you wear it, you feel like, it doesn't feel right. You're not wearing your own watch. You're wearing, you know, unless, well, my dad was dead. Wearing his watch, it just felt weird, man. Like, it's not mine. Um, and he was like, yeah, you just gotta wait for me to die if you want these. And I was like, we are a dark family. We've got good humor, I think. So anyway, Christmas comes, and a couple of days before Christmas, I was in the car with my mom and my sister, and my mom was like, because I think I met my dad the day before Christmas, or 2 days before, 3 days before, and we were out with some family friends, and he was wearing his Explorer, and I was like, and then we started talking about watches and my watch business and my watch brand, because these family friends, one of them were interested in purchasing, possibly in the possibility of making a purchase. Wow, the alliteration in there. Um, anyway, we begin a watch discussion, and we were talking about watches and how they appreciate in value, and then my dad was like, yeah, my watch has gone up by like 50% since I bought it. And I was looking at him, and I was like, Pop, you owe me for that. I didn't say you owe me that. I said you owe me for that. So I was like, you owe me that. Sorry. What is wrong with me? I said you owe me for that. Freudian slip maybe. So I was like, yeah, you owe me for that. I was the one who told you. I went and blah blah blah. And by the way, we had this conversation so many times. Almost every time he wears the Explorer, I'm like, you owe me for that. I found that watch for you. I blah blah blah. I this, I that. I was just getting it to him. So anyway, we're out with the family friends, and we had the same conversation again. And I was like, I told you that, blah blah blah. Better blah 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 blah. That is mine. It's gone up in 50% value because of me. I told you to go out and get it. I followed you. I took you to the shop. I was the one. And my dad was like, and I was like, sorry, mate. He looks at me like, I don't care. Like, why are you getting so upset? and that's typical of my dad. So then, back to me and my sister and my mom in the car doing some Christmas shopping. On the way back from Christmas shopping, and my mom was like, oh no, actually my sister wasn't there. Yeah, no, it's just me and my mom. And my mom was like, after yesterday's discussion with the family friends and all, my your father's thinking of giving his Explorer to you. And I was like, no, he's not. Like I didn't even think he would. I was like, nah, you shut up. Why do you have to give me hope? I was like, I told that to my mom, and she was like, yeah, he probably won't. But he asked me, and I was like, oh my god, please, Madeline, please tell me you convinced him. And she was like, yeah, I told him, yeah, he should consider. But then he said that the other siblings would feel like it was unfair if I got a $9,000 watch for Christmas and they got shoes or whatever. And I was like, yeah, that's fair. He is a fair guy. He is, he treats all his children equally, I like to think. Although he does love the daughter, the little girl of the family more than he does the boys, but I don't blame him. Anyway, so my mom tells me that, and I'm like, Mom, please, we have to convince him. And my mom's like, yeah, nah, he's I tried, but You know, I think he doesn't want to make the other kids feel upset. And I was like, yeah, whatever. And then there were a few more hints from my mom. She was like, yeah, you know, I think I might have convinced him. And I was like, shut up, leave me alone. And my mom's like, he's thinking of giving it, you know, I think. And I was like, he has lowered the expectations of gifts for me so low, mom, that whatever you say to me, I'm just gonna treat it as bull. It's not going to happen. So Christmas comes around, and well, we track all the way back to the start of this video when I say, you know, I put the straps on for them, I give him the Explorer, he wears it. And so Christmas night goes on, and I look at my dad's Explorer, and I'm like, oh, it looks so good, man. The way when he's carving the meat, the lamb or something that he cooked, he was carving it, and I took some shots of it. It'll probably be up on screen right now. Yeah, and he was like wearing it for the games and everything, and the watch just looked so good. And I looked at my own wrist, and I had the Sarbon, and I was like, yeah, it feels similar, it looks similar, but it's just not the Explorer. And then Christmas goes on, and after Christmas, you know, we wish each other Merry Christmas. The families are still there. We've got like cousins over. Yeah, and everyone, I think they start exchanging gifts and stuff. Hardly our family didn't do that until everyone left, but yeah, people just started exchanging gifts. So in this little black box, I gave my cousin a watch which he asked me to repair for him, and so I give it to him, and he's at the counter with my dad and mom and his wife, and I just went to take a seat in the hall with my brother. And at this point, I was just I wasn't thinking of watches. I wasn't thinking of anything. I was just with my brother, and I was like, "Oh, dude, fun night, blah blah." We're just having a chat. Like throughout the night, like when I took glances at my dad's watch, at my mom's watch, and I'm like, "Oh, nice watches." The Star 035 is a very nice watch. But you know, that's just me being a watch guy. I wasn't thinking, "Oh, she's gonna give me that," or "I'm gonna get that." I was just glancing at them, and I was just whatever, you know. So I was just chilling with my brother on the couch, and out of nowhere, my cousin, in the same black box that I wrapped his watch in, he passes a black box to my sister, because the counter is like behind this wall. So he passes it to my sister. My sister walks into the hall and gives it to me, and he's like, "Oh, it's from your cousin, from his name is Harnick. It's from Harnick." And I was like, why is he giving me the watch back? Because it felt like, you know, it was the same watch. And he's like, "Oh, it's from Harnick." And I was like, what? Like, why would my cousin give me back the same watch? Like, it's his. Why? And my sister's like, "Just open it." And I opened it, and my dad's Explorer was in it. My dad's Explorer was in it with this strap on. And I was like, what's going on? Like, why? Like, I mean, there was a small part of me that was like, oh my god, am I getting it? Like, you know, it was a question like, could it be? But on the outside, I was like, what the hell is going on? Like, why is, because my sister said it's from your cousin. I was like, why did my cousin put my dad's watch in here and pass it to me? You know, I was genuinely like, why? Like, that's not a normal thing to do. So I go to the counter. I'm like, why did he do this? And my mom takes out her phone, and she's like, "Oh, your dad's giving it to you." And I was like, my dad doesn't look me in the eye. My dad doesn't tell me he's giving it to me. He's like, he's like looking at my cousin, I think. And my mom's like, I'm like, at that point I was like, maybe, but still very doubtful, because it could be a prank. My dad has lowered you don't understand, okay? My dad has lowered the expectations so low that even if he told me, I would be like, nah, I don't believe it. But anyway, my dad's like, and then my mom says, "Oh, he's giving it to you," and I'm like, "What? He didn't say that." And my dad's like, "Oh, you don't want it? Oh, okay." And then my dad puts it back but he takes it and he puts it back on his wrist, and he's like, "Oh, I thought I'll give it to you, but if you don't want it," and I was like, I mean, if you're giving it to me, of course I want it. And he was like, you want it? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, oh, if you want it, then just say it. Like that, like my dad was so like he was so chill, and he was like, oh, like whatever. And I was like, I was in shock. So my dad takes it off his wrist and just passes it to me, and I was like, really? He's like, yeah. And then he makes an announcement, a small announcement. He's like, by the way, like to tell my siblings, like, by the way, this is Dilshan's 21st birthday gift, not a Christmas gift. So don't be upset. This is a 21st birthday gift, not a Christmas gift. And he makes it very clear. And my siblings are like, we don't care. My siblings generally don't care about watches. My brother a little bit maybe. But, you know, I think they're sick of me talking about watches. So I was like in shock. And I was like, really? And I hugged him. And I was like, I'm gonna cry. And I cried. I was like in shock. I was speechless. I think as a watch lover, like me, like I am, to get a watch from your father is huge. And I'm breaking up saying this, but I'm getting goosebumps. I'm getting literal goosebumps. But no, to get a watch from your father is like, it's a fairy tale. You hear people tell their stories about how their parents gave them wristwatches. Stop, compose yourself, Dilshan. But you hear people of like, you know, my dad handed me this, and I was like, oh, they were so for the last 4 or 5 years, I've always wanted my dad to just come and pass me a wristwatch. I always wanted my dad to come and pass me a wristwatch, but for him to give me. So let me just tell you the criteria here. So my dad, because it's from my dad. I don't know, it just means a bit more coming from my dad than from my mom, because my dad is a watch guy, my mom isn't. So to get a watch from a watch guy, you know, you just get that feeling. So it's from my dad as a gift to me. A birth year watch. That's a Rolex. Those 4 things, man. Those 4 things. For it to tick off all those boxes, like, it's huge. It is huge. So, how did I react? Well, let me cut to the video right now.
Yeah, man.
Thank you.
I didn't even record that whole thing. I'm so sorry.
Exactly. He's crying over this. Sonia. Please. You have to find the Rolex.
Come, let me see this. See, here. How much is that?
You have a bonding yes. Yeah.
What are you actually giving it to him?
Why not Russian? So give one of you.
21.
No way.
Are you jealous? Are you gonna cry?
Yeah, really.
I'm not Dilshan.
I'm drunk, huh? I change my mind.
How?
I'm drunk.
I don't
What?
really shocked.
Come on. I'm drunk.
Aww.
Oh.
Thank you.
So yeah, full of tears, I hugged him, I kissed him, I hugged the watch, I kissed the watch. I still can't believe it. I still cannot believe this. Yeah. Pretty crazy. Absolutely crazy. Yeah. I mean, it is the best 21st birthday gift I think I could have gotten. A birth year watch to commemorate my 21st year of life. A Rolex from my dad, the Explorer, that has such a great story to it. When I saw it, and out of chance, and just the whole butterfly effect. Is that a butterfly effect? I think that is, right? That is a butterfly effect. Like, the chance of me like going there to get my watch repaired, blah blah blah. Like one thing led to another, and my dad got the watch, and then he fell in love with it. If he didn't fall in love with it, he would have sold it. You know, all these things, just one step at a time. One flutter of a butterfly's wing picked up a vibration, causing a tsunami of emotions. Yeah, that was it. I got the watch, and yeah, after that I put it on the bracelet, which I removed for my dad earlier, just to put it on the bracelet. I'll put it on its original form, and I took a photo by the Christmas tree, and that was that. Thrilling, so much emotions. It's crazy. It is absolutely crazy. I still can't believe it. But that was the story. That was the story of me crying after receiving a Rolex from my dad. Anyway, I think I'll end it there. I've got nothing much to say. I'm just going to enjoy my time with this, man. I'm just going to go out, and I haven't taken it off my wrist since, actually. So I don't think I will. I don't think I will for a while. Yeah, after that, I laid down in bed, and I watched all of Mr. Barkin Jack's videos on the Rolex Explorer that he has, which is the exact same reference, 14270. But I don't think his is a Swiss-only dial. It might be, but anyway. That's what I did, and I fell asleep with this watch on my wrist. And here I am telling you the story the day after. Yeah. I don't want to say thank you in this video to my dad, because that would be dumb. Like, there are people who be like, Dad, if you're watching this, thank you. Like, that is weird, man. I thanked him in person. I hugged him. Yeah, I'm grateful, man. I just hope everyone else is having an awesome Christmas, because I sure am. And maybe this is good karma because of the stuff I've been giving away, but yeah, I'm gonna continue giving away stuff, because the more you give, the more you get. So please have a great Christmas with your families. Love them, hug them, spend time with them. I'm gonna go spend time with my family right now. I just had to make this video while I was high on emotions. I think that way I told a better story. But yeah, have a great Christmas, and I hope to see you on the channel soon. Thank you so much for watching this video. Merry Christmas. Oh, and also, I guess it's pretty cool that me and Brad Pitt finally have something in common apart from our appearance.